I'd like to go ahead and call to order the Nevada Commission for the Reconstruction of the V&T Railway. It's Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, 9:01 a.m. We are here in the Carson City Community Center, Robert Bob Kroll Boardroom. Tamar, could I get a roll call, please?
Chair Peterson,
Present.
Vice Chair Mitchell,
I'm here.
Treasurer Cruz, Secretary Hicks,
Here.
Commissioner Schmitter. A quorum's present.
All right, great. If I could have everybody please stand, we'll move on to agenda item 3, Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. All right, everybody, great. Thank you. Let's move on to agenda item 4, public comment. At this time, the public is invited to comment on or discuss any topic that is relevant to or within the authority of this body. Any public comment? Come on up, Bob. Bob, yeah, don't forget to, and just identify yourself for the record for tomorrow, please.
Bob Thomason. And at least from my point of view, this survey has been a real sticking point. The survey of the Gold Hill property, thinking that it had to be done first before we could do anything else. And it's been pointed out to me and come to my attention that the survey really doesn't need to be done until sometime later. And for now, we have documents from NDOT showing the right-of-way, where the highway right-of-way is. We have county documents showing where the utility easement is, way to the north, on the north edge of the property. We have the county plat maps with dimensions, showing the dimensions of the properties. And we also have this sort of engineered drawing from Manhard Consulting, very detailed, showing the property line and with reference points like the building. And, so what we don't have, of course, is the exact corner points. But one of the guys that worked on this project initially, his opinion was, hey, given all this information, you can informally identify the corner points within a few feet. And so my conclusion is that I don't think there's any question that the property is suitable for the monument. The monument's going roughly almost in the center, even if we're way off, which we're not, where we think the property lines are, we're still safe with our proposed location for the statue. So my comment is that barring other obstacles, that the survey can be done later, and the commission can, once everything else gets in order, issue or provide the easement document for the monument, with the caveat that before a shovel touches the ground or any site work is done, a formal survey will take place. And hopefully, once we have the go-ahead from the commission, we can proceed with fundraising, identifying artists and everything. The project will pick up steam. I'm hoping we can even find a surveyor to do it pretty cheap or for free, just to be involved in it. So that's my comment, that the survey shouldn't be it can go later. It shouldn't be a prerequisite for the easement. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. All right. Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none. Let's move on to agenda item 5 for possible action, approval of minutes of the March 27, 2024 meeting. Any comments or edits on the minutes? Anybody want to make a motion? Go ahead, Stephanie.
I move to approve the minutes of March 27th, 2024.
Thank you for that motion, Stephanie. Do I have a second?
This is Clay. I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, motion carries unanimously. All right, let's move on to agenda item number 6. For possible action, discussion and possible action regarding the V&T Commission Statement of Accounts Payable Checks paid March 1 through 31st, 2024. And the total checks for this month, $75,011.01. Any questions on item number 6? Anybody want to make a motion on this one?
I will.
Ooh, yeah, Leah.
Why are you acting so surprised?
Well, just because you always want to handle the financial stuff for
Weird,
some reason.
right? I don't know
It's
why.
bizarre.
I move to approve the payable checks that were paid March 1st through 31st, 2024.
All right, thank you for that motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Great, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on item 6? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, motion carries unanimously. Right, let's move on to agenda item 7. For possible action, discussion of possible action regarding the adjusted V&T Commission's fiscal year 23-24 budget report for the period ended March 31st, 2024. On this comparative statement of adjusted revenue, we have $1,361,002.61 and expenses totaling $1,268,814.18. Any questions on this particular item? Nope. Anybody want to make a motion on this?
Shocking. I would love to. I move to approve the budget report.
Thank you for that motion, Leah. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on agenda item 7? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Motion carries unanimously. All right, let's move on to agenda item 8. For possible action, discussion and possible action regarding a proposed installation of the memorial statue of Grosch Brothers, a statue on property owned by the V&T Commission. So Commissioner Schmitter is going to give us an update regarding the results of a record search of historic buildings and sites in a 50-meter radius of the V&T Commission-owned parcels in Gold Hill. So Michelle, I'm going to turn it over to you. And on this item, this is late material. It is at the back of the room. It's been posted to the website as well. We'll share up here, but it is going to be on the screen. So Commissioner Schmitter, take it away.
Okay, thank you. So as I mentioned at the last meeting, I would ask my colleague Mike Drews to do a record search to see if there's any historic buildings or sites in the vicinity of this project. And working off of the map that Stephanie had forwarded from Manhard, which I'm sure you have as well, we were able to locate our property, and that is what is in red up there. The yellow is a 50-meter radius. That's what Mike pulled to locate anything historic. And this is really just an important first step because we know that we're in the historic district there, and we want to make sure that our project is not going to impact adversely a historic building or site. So if you go to, he just pulled some of these maps, which I just always think is really cool. So the one we want to go to would be, I think, page 4. Let's keep going here. Next one. So this, you can see the record search box. That's the black box. And then on the side, he's listed the reports that these are by number, which is how they're filed in the SHPO office. I pulled out 2 since we're very close to the California building, and I think that's right, the Bank of California building and the depot. And so these are the inventory forms. You can see, yeah, just keep rolling. The depot one's nice to have because we're right there. So it appears that there's always areas of concern in Virginia City, but that will be up to the commission to let us know if the Landmark Commission to let us know if they're concerned with the project. But in terms of, for us, I don't see anything that we need to be concerned about with placing the statue in this location.
And Michelle, just to clarify, the location that Bob was referring to from our last meeting, you're saying you don't see a issue with approximately positioning it there?
Right, I
Okay.
mean, it'll have to be whatever the Virginia City Landmark Commission wants us to do, we might need to do. If there's federal dollars involved, we'll probably have to do a cultural survey because we're so close to the Gold Hill Depot, which is on the National Register. You were gonna do that anyhow, right? Yeah, you had said you went and talked to Kristen Brown? Okay. Yeah,
Bob, sorry, will you just come up into the microphone just so we can pick you up, please? Yeah, sorry. I don't want Tamar to not capture the conversation there. Thank you. Oh, Bob, will you push? Yep, you just push. Yeah, turn green, go.
Like my
And
wife
sorry,
says,
there you
can-
go.
my
can
wife
you
says, I
identify
need
yourself again?"
supervision. So,
Yeah, and Bob, if you'll just identify yourself again for Tamar.
Bob Thomason. And yes, I've talked to, about the Historic Commission approval. I've talked to Kristen Brown. I don't have anything in writing, but she's all for it. I mean, she was actually enthusiastic. So she's been very supportive.
I do recall you saying that, and then the next step was getting our approval, and then you should go back to her once we understand
Yeah,
parameters of the statute
Yeah.
to see what she will need.
yeah. I can't apply for a certificate of appropriateness until we know where it's going to go and what it's going to look like exactly and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Okay, that's my report.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions of Michelle or? Go
I don't-
ahead.
I don't have any questions. This is Clay. I would just note that kind of thinking about this potential monument and kind of the area, the Bank of California building topographically is lower down the hill. And so there's really not a lot of conflict or interaction spatially between it and the proposed site. I think potentially there's more so visually when we're talking about the main travelway, which is the highway, and the depot, which is in the back. And so I'm sure that Kristen and the Historic District can maybe give some pointers as far as scale and location and just making sure there's appropriateness there. She really knows what she's doing, and if she feels like it's something that needs to come to the board of that commission, that she'll guide it in that direction. But if it's something there's kind of a cutoff for things that are more routine, and it may be just an over-the-counter certificate of appropriateness if she feels comfortable with that. And so that's what I anticipate once we have some more details for her. Can go one way or the other. That board meets about once a month, so it shouldn't be a huge lead time if it does need to go for approval with that commission.
Thank you. Okay. So I'm not sure that we're taking an action today because I know we still have to figure out the right of way or whatever it is we're going to do, but I feel like we're moving along. I know it's slow, Bob, and forgive us, for the process, but we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence as well and not trampling over any other commission or body or anything like that. So, okay. Any other questions? I guess next steps then for May, do we want to have a plan of attack for our May meeting at this point? And if so, what's the thought process? Go ahead, Michelle.
I just
Yeah,
have a
please.
question.
Yeah.
Clay, didn't you say that Story County was resurveying? I mean, do we want to wait for that?
There was some discussion about that in terms of budget. As it turns out, the area that they're looking to survey is quite a bit broader. When you broaden out the survey, you end up with a confluence of, and this will come as no surprise to anyone, I think, mining claims, both patented and unpatented, fragments of land between mining claims and surface lots, potentially little tiny BLM slivers and other things. And so the feedback that I got when we said, can we put some of this money in the budget, they said, we're going to need way more than that to figure out the scope of what the county is looking to do. And so that does not bode well for timeliness in that project moving forward. It had originally been in this coming fiscal year. They had pushed it back. And what I had suggested was that we prompt them to bring it back into the current year. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Final budget will be late May. So that's kind of up in the air at this point. I don't know if it's something that we can count on. And I would, in response to your question, Chair, I would suggest that possibly at our next meeting, we agendize a conversation around the concept of being able to move forward with other elements of this project prior to surveying to see if there's an appropriate path to keep it moving forward, or if that really is kind of a go, no-go point where we feel like we have to have exact location confirmation. It seems like that would be an appropriate item to agendize at this point.
I like that idea. Perfect. Okay. That's exactly what we'll do for May then, to keep things moving, because I don't want us to stall out and then 2 months goes by, 3 months goes by, and you're thinking, what are they doing up there? You know, so. Come back up. Sorry, yeah, just, yeah. Green button.
Should I put together some slides with my view on the lack of a need for a survey at this point? Because we have overwhelming evidence of where the property lines are within, yeah.
What are you? Go ahead.
I guess I had kind of held and not responded to the public comment because of the thought that maybe we need to agendize this, but I'll just tell you my perspective. I think there are perhaps other tools we could use, like a right of entry to get you in there and on the property without an exact location.
Yeah.
An easement has to have a stamped, recorded description
Okay, thank you.
of
Thank you.
the location.
Okay, yeah.
So in my perspective,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be comfortable signing off on an easement,
Yeah.
even if it were a temporary one, unless we could really identify the property. So,
We wouldn't really need the right of entry until the survey's done anyway, because we wouldn't need the right of entry until we're going to start construction. Is that right? So-
right. And I mean, and there may be, in addition to that, something I think we need to consider and could be part of that conversation next meeting is, you know, whether there's just some other agreement that we need to put into place as well. That has to do with the artwork and what those final steps would be to bring the project to fruition. So,
In my main motivation in bypassing the survey for now temporarily is so if we could get some kind of go-ahead from the commission, then we can go out and ask them, hey, we've got a location, and start giving us money, and we can get artists signed up. But right now, if we go ask someone for a donation, well, where's it going to go? Well, we don't know if, it doesn't work, and we lose credibility. We try to go back to them later. Well, we have a location now, and they've already kind of written us off as, flakes or whatever. So that's that. Anyway, that's why I'm pushing to.
Yeah, well,
avoid.
let's, Mihaela, let's work this out for the May meeting in terms of what we could possibly bring forward as a agenda item to either, like Clay said, make a decision to get us moving forward or not. So Bob, if you'll give us the next month to work with
I
legal
have no
counsel on
choice.
that. Yeah, that'd be super. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say if we can make that agenda item broad enough so that we can discuss different formats on a conditional agreement or something, or an agreement conditioned on certain steps to, some sort of a memorandum or whatever that may be.
And again, we wouldn't do anything physical on the property until the survey, everything is.
Of course.
I like it. Mihaela, are you okay with that? Yeah, that gives us some few weeks to come up with something that, allows us some latitude for next month. Okay. Thank you, Michelle, for, and thank the team. So, go ahead, Bob, sorry.
Question, Clay, your comments about the county wanting to survey, was that for their own reasons, for the general area, or was that related to this project?
Yeah, no, the given reason for the survey item on our capital improvement plan was to determine parking feasibility around the Gold Hill Depot. And so that's the main reason that,
Yeah.
to delineate specifically, right now, we just kind of park wherever. Welcome to the Comstock. That's, kind of drive wherever too. It's just, we pretend a road's here and everyone agrees to
Yeah.
it. So that was the motivation behind it. The reason that I brought it into the conversation was because I thought there may be a kind of a synergy there where we could piggyback onto that,
Sure.
pull that forward and just lump it in. And so that's what I asked my commission to consider.
Yeah.
And the response from staff was, here's our concern with that. It's bigger. That's why we pushed it back here, blah, 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 those kind of things. So that's a conversation that's still in progress.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Carla, you'll have to come up, sorry. And then just state your name for the record too, Carla. Yeah, thank you.
Carla Wilson, my business partner just texted me and said the streaming of this meeting has stopped. He was following along, and he wanted to let you know.
I need to stop for a second?
No,
there?
I'll let Keith know you don't need to stop because of how we have it agendized, but people can access on YouTube. I know they probably can't hear me if they're not looking there, but we do have the YouTube channel, and I'll let Keith know. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Carla. Thanks, you guys. All right. Thank you, everybody, for the conversation on this particular item. More to come, Bob, next month. All right, on it. So we'll keep things moving. Let's go ahead and move on to agenda item 9 for possible action, discussion and possible action regarding an acknowledgement by Story County of an elimination of a liability in the amount of $250,000 representing a one-time grant the V&T Commission agreed to contribute to match Story County's $250,000 grant for the purchase of the old freight depot in Virginia City. Assessor parcel number 001-096-02, which is the liability, pursuant to an interlocal cooperative agreement dated May 20th, 2010, and direction to staff to remove the liability from the appropriate accounting record. So I'll just do a quick summary, and then I'm going to turn it over to Vice Chair Mitchell, who's been wonderful at getting us to this point. So at its March 19, 2024, the meeting, the Board of Story County Commissioners acknowledged that the liability was eliminated by a superseding V&T interlocal agreement entered into by the V&T Commission and Story County on May 19th, 2020. The ownership of the old freight depot in Virginia City was transferred to Story County by way of a recorded deed on August 29th, 2000, and I think that's supposed to be 19. In the report on the audit of the V&T Commission financial statements and supplementary information ended June 30th, 2023, prepared by the V&T Commission's independent auditor, Casey Neal and Inc., the liability is documented in Note 8 under commitments and contingencies. And Clay, if I may turn this item over to you to talk us through, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So, and I don't have a whole lot more to add, but if you'll remember on our last audit and previous audits, there was a note that showed up describing a liability that was attributed to the commission. And so in digging into it, I went back through the previous agreements that we had with Story County, and I brought it to the attention of Story County's comptroller as well as the district attorney and asked for an opinion on where this stands, if that's an actual liability that exists. The determination or the presentation from the legal presentation from the district attorney's office was that liability or commitment that had been made in the 2010 agreement was satisfied by the 2020 agreement between us and Story County, which said that it superseded any previous agreements and that was not carried into the new agreement. And so basically, then that was brought to the Board of County Commissioners in Story County, and we acknowledged that that was the case and agreed to it, and the vote was taken. And so at this point, this is just to make sure that we on the Railroad Commission match or acknowledge that our understanding is the same, that the commitment for us to contribute $250,000 towards the purchase of this building was satisfied or is no longer in place, and then to work with our auditors to make sure that that shows in our accounting records.
Thank you, Clay. I appreciate that. Thank you for your hard work to get us to this
You're
point.
welcome.
So really appreciate that. Are there any questions or concerns on this item? Okay. Anybody want to make a motion to absolve us of this liability? Nobody wants to. Can you believe that? Wow. Okay, Stephanie, somebody has to step
I
up.
move to approve the elimination of the $250,000 debt to Story County and direct staff to remove the liability from the accounting records as discussed.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing. Oh, yes. go
I
ahead,
just
Stephanie.
wanted to say thanks again, Clay. This is huge for us and appreciate all your efforts on it.
Welcome, thank you.
I'll third that again. All right.
Yeah, and if I can just provide a little bit of context as well, just as a matter of interest, there was quite a bit of discussion in the 2010 agreement about a direction that both Story County and the commission wanted to go, and it had to do with really pushing to extend the railway all the way to the depot, reopening Tunnel 6, which is in front of the Catholic Church in Virginia City, and there was this notion that that was really a direction that we would go with the extension of the sales tax and all of the things that were happening at the time. Given the costs, given the logistics of a non-contiguous section of our railway, I don't know how reasonable those ideas are at this point, and that's maybe something for further conversation. The county made the decision. They had been trying to acquire that depot for a long time. When the opportunity came up, they jumped on it. And so I don't know if there's the agreement that was made in 2010 was that we would provide a grant of $250,000 from the rail tax money that comes through towards that purchase. At this point, there's really, from the county perspective, there's no interest in holding us to have any sort of involvement with that building. If it's not something that we're interested in, the county owns it outright and so on and so forth. And so I just thought that would be interesting to consider. Is that something that in the future we want to pursue or have in our plans? Or does it seem beyond the reach of what we as a commission could do to look at that portion of the railway? Certainly the engineering on reopening a tunnel is really a massive undertaking. And not sure if there's either the financial resources or the political will to undertake something like that. The other thing I was thinking about, because there are renderings and there are people whose driveways front on that street, and they would not be able to turn into their driveways if you reopen the railway coming through. It certainly was on people's radar in the past, and I'm not sure if it's something that should be on our radar again in the future, but it will help us regardless to have this clarified and cleaned up.
Thank you for that, Clay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, motion carries unanimously. Again, Clay, thank you very much
Welcome.
for helping us through this. And then Sherry, I guess we need to go back to Suzanne and the Casey Nealon folks and try, to see if we can get through to them and let them know what happened and provide all this paperwork, I think, to get us moving through the audit process as well. So,
Yeah, and Sherry, feel free to loop me in on that if needs be.
yeah, cool. All righty. Okay, with that, we'll move on to agenda item number 10 for possible action, discussion and possible action regarding a proposed retroactive amendment to contract for services of independent contractor FY 24-C004 with CJ Wilson LLC for the Polar Express Theater Production Services contract, exercising the option to renew the contract for 3 additional years, effective February 1st, 2024 to January 31st, 2027, under the same terms and conditions, for an amount not to exceed $115,775 per year, or $347,325 for 3 years, and a total contract amount not to exceed $463,100. There is late revised material on this particular item, so that's on in the back of the room, and it's on the website as well. Carla, thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to continue forward on this front.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm really looking this is Carla Wilson, by the way. I'm looking forward to continuing on and making this a great tradition for our community.
I love it.
Yeah.
Are there any questions? And appreciate you keeping the price the same for us moving forward as well. So thank you very much for that.
I just have one
consideration.
quick question
Yeah.
about that. I submitted some additional stuff to Sherry, and I don't know if it got incorporated or are we moving forward with any of that? The budget stuff you asked me for.
Oh,
Okay.
Sherry, sorry, just, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Um, Yeah, there are things after camp that camp starts May 13th, goes through the 17th is the big train ride to Silverton. But there are things I'm hoping to learn at camp
Mhm.
that maybe we can kind of mix ours up a little bit to keep it fresh. I always think it's important to do
Sure.
that. So after camp, I'd like to start putting out word and feelers and everything for cast to start getting some activity going to where people might get excited about being a part of the cast.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, and today, Carla, basically, we're just approving a retroactive
Okay.
amendment, so that doesn't preclude, after you come back from camp, us having some conversations about anything new that you learned, we can always do another amendment too,
Okay.
right, to the contract if it
If need be,
necessitates that.
yeah.
Sure, yeah. This was just a way to get things
Rolling,
moving.
yeah.
Only because of the timing of getting the agreement with rail events in place, right? We were kind of a month behind, and so that's why we're having to do it as a retroactive agreement.
No
So,
worries, no
okay.
worries.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you again. Appreciate it. Any questions from the commission for Carla? All right, great. Anybody want to do a motion on this one? Gosh, they're sleepy this morning, Carla. Not sure what's happening.
You sure
Yes.
we're gonna go?
We're trying to eliminate debt from the commission. Nobody wants to say a word.
I
Now we-
promise
now-
this will make money.
Wow. Thank you, Carla. Now, is anybody hearing that? We can make some money on this particular contract?
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to make a motion now.
Oh, there we are. Oh, now they all want to make
Wow,
a motion.
making money and
Wow, yeah.
forgiving debt, wow.
Financial solvency, people. That's what this is all about.
Great. This is Clay. I'll make a motion to approve the retroactive amendment of the contract with CF Wilson LLC as proposed.
Lovely.
It was CJ.
CJ, I know. I see that.
CJ Wilson
CJ.
LLC
CJ.
as proposed.
Yes, it's a new acronym, yeah. Financial stability is what that means. All right, thank you for that motion, Clay. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Awesome, motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Carla. We're off to the races. This is great, you guys. All right, let's move on to agenda item 11. These are our monthly non-action items for discussion only. 11A, executive assistant update. Sherry.
Oh, that's me.
Yep, it's you.
How are we moving along so fast?
Because of the efficiency with which I conduct these meetings. With brevity being at the forefront of my efforts.
Okay, so my update, of course, ticket sales went on sale middle of March. I'll start with the bad news. Our Mark Twain train is not selling quite as well as we want. We've sold 58 out of our 190 coach tickets. We've sold 5 of 10 of our VIP table, and we have not sold a room yet. Good news is Regina will be doing a spot for us on Channel 4 next week. Hopefully that will pump things up for us. On the good news, Mother's Day is selling like crazy. We've got 199 tickets sold in coach out of 214 for Saturday, and we've sold 144 out of the 214 for Sunday on coach. And VIP tables and room are sold out for both days. So that's great. I am not sure, I don't know how to judge how ticket sales should go, so, how quickly. To me, it seems a little light for the other trains, and the diesels is super light, very, very light right now. But hopefully with some more Facebook advertising,
Yeah.
we'll get a push on that.
Yep, Leah.
I just
Go
want to
ahead.
comment from our side, from the, excuse me, Virginia City Tourism Commission side, we haven't pushed anything yet, train related, either Mark Twain Days really, or just trains in general,
Okay.
which we typically will. So that, not saying that we're like the magic answer here, but we will definitely put some of our forces behind that. So just keep that in mind too, that we haven't really started our big push. We have a marketing / special events meeting coming up, and I'll make sure and discuss that.
Great.
May I ask you a question, Leah? When do you think your magic marketing campaign might begin? Only because you all need to know where we're landing for Friday. I have no doubt Mother's Day, I think I'm looking at Candy, but Mother's Day weekend will be great, Saturday, Sunday. Just timing wise,
Right.
product,
We,
everything.
the hard part with this one is the timing of everything, being what it is. We will definitely have a push on our e-blast that will go out on May 1st. May 1st-ish. I know that's close, so that's a little sketchy, but sometimes I've learned in the event world up in Virginia City, most people in this area don't buy until a lot closer. So I'm hoping that just that last minute,
Yeah.
hey, reminder, this is happening really soon, will be helpful. So,
May I ask you one other question?
no. Yes.
Are you going to do anything with the I-80 corridor on the VCTC side of things? Because I was going to talk to Lydia on our end to do another push, I-80.
I
at
don't
least.
believe that's been discussed, but I'm happy to bring that to our marketing team and see.
Yeah, would you?
I
'Cause
know we
I'm-
were talking more Memorial Day stuff, so yeah, I can see
Okay.
if there's, I don't know timing wise if that will
Okay.
be
No
an
worries.
option for us. So.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible weekend, and the sheer amount of events, it's dwarfing last year. And I just love the fact that it's Carson City and it's Virginia City. The Territorial Enterprise is going to be open Friday, Saturday, like just some really cool things happening and going on. And I know there's many of us that are trying to coordinate messaging, so it's been a bit difficult, I think.
I know that we also just put the press release out too, from
Okay.
our side. So things are happening. It's many chefs.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, there's like-
between us,
yeah.
Brewery Arts Center, Carson,
Yep.
you got everything. So I know it's a learning year, I think, for all of us for next year. We're going to have a lot of do's and don'ts for next year. One of
For
them
sure.
being much earlier start.
Yeah.
For
I know, I feel like
push.
we lost a couple of weeks in the middle of this whole process, right? Trying to get everybody onboarded, and everybody had different timings to get things in front of their respective boards and commissions.
And I just want to make one more comment on this. I do know that I talked to my director, Todd. We talked in great detail about Mark Twain Days, and I was like, yeah, I'm surprised that the train didn't, because last year it went really quickly. Last year was the first year, and it was new and exciting, and no one, and now that it's happened, it's going to be a greater push for us. It's going to be harder for us to get people as excited. And the people that were involved last year, the higher level, I don't want to say, because nobody's really, in my world, nobody's really a supreme VIP, but there were a lot of those VIP people who were invested and involved in this first one. So it behooves us to all work together and really grow it in our way and make it a much more for the people event. So.
Well, and last year too, it was in April. And we, I'll just say from the Visit Carson City perspective, arrived in April, right, in terms of the ticket sales. So it was all within the, whatever, 3 weeks, not even, of the train. So I know we're saying we're behind, but ironically, we actually got a head start. But I think it's just the switch between April and May, and then we have the Mother's Day weekend situation. There's a lot of stuff going on. Mother's Day
Still
weekend
new,
too.
and
yeah.
new events take time
Yeah.
to get to
Yeah.
grasp.
And I
So-
have heard a couple of people, when they see that the Mother's Day train has been sold out, they have switched and bought the Mark Twain. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
obviously not enough, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah, and Leah's right. It's very last minute-ish with events. I don't know how people operate like that, literally 3 days before. Oh, we're just going to head out for 4 or 5 days. Since I'm planning months in advance when I go somewhere. But anyway, okay. Sherry, back to you. Or,
I'm sorry,
Clay.
if I may,
My
yeah.
apologies. Yeah, please.
I was
Sorry,
just
sorry.
going to point out, and this is just notional, but having better sales on the Saturday than the Sunday, I think, is a really positive sign, because I think typically it's the reverse. And I think historically on the holiday weekend, on those holiday weekends, we do better on the Sunday train. And so I think that's strong for both the Twain and the Sunday train to have that approaching sellout. I think that's a good sign.
I would agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sherry.
As far as getting the workings in order for both of those trains, Candy's been fantastic in helping me out with that. We've got the volunteers for the Mark Twain Days on the train from the Civil War, what is that called? Civil War Days group. And they will also help us out at the depot and on the trains for Mother's Day. So, yeah.
I
Go
have
ahead, Leah. Yeah,
One more
please,
thing about
please.
Mark Twain Days on our side. The shuttles that we are offering, we will have one small shuttle that is not ADA compliant, and then we will have 2 large coaches that can be, where you can store.
The
So I know
wheelchair?
Kathy, she's been
Yeah.
getting calls regarding that, so I just want to put it out there that we will have some ADA accessibility. We have to be careful, though, because the Territorial Enterprise is not ADA accessible, and neither is St. Mary's Art Center, in terms of they're working on getting an elevator and things like that. So yes, get them to town, they can come on C Street, not a problem. Just need to make sure we're aware that some of the events aren't going to be in that realm, so.
Okay. No, that's great. Cool. Did you have anything else, Sherry, you wanted to add there?
I don't think so. Did I forget anything?
I was thinking about ticket
Oh,
update.
the
So,
ticket.
did you just apprise everybody in terms of what
Yes.
we're going to do to get us started for Mother's Day weekend? That
yes,
would be
so
super. Thank you.
We're gonna go ahead and print, let me see if I can, the more generic ticket that we had all liked, or you had all liked, this one, just so that we can have something started. Oh, shoot.
It's it's still you.
I
yeah,
know what it is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start out with 1,000, and we'll go back to the fortune cookie,
Mhm.
different ones when we get a better grasp on the
Yeah.
design, what we want to say.
Chris from my team, she's in Reno sourcing the paper probably as we speak or shortly. So we'll at least get us out the door for Mother's Day weekend. But yeah, did you have yeah, go ahead, Michelle.
I did share the ticket designs with my crew up at Clear Creek, and they loved it. And I was like, I said, I don't think so. So if you're just going from me, then,
We needed them at last month's
I
meeting.
know, right?
Thanks, Michelle. All right. Anything else? Okay, good.
Nope, I
Okay,
think that's it.
awesome. Thank you very much. All right. Any other questions for Sherry? If not, we will move on to 11B, Operations Trains Report. Candy, settling in as Tom Gray.
Good morning, Candy Duncan. Tom regrets that he is not here today, but it is the day set for the annual inspection for engine number 18. So he has a very good excuse to not be here today. So, yes, I think the Mother's Day train is very exciting to see how quickly that sold out. And I can check, Clay, and see. I think I sort of recall that last year sort of the same thing happened. We sold Saturday out first, and we were a little bit later in selling Sunday. So it's good that we're doing both days. And when I checked tickets this morning, I did see 78 coach tickets for the Twain train, so we've sold a few more.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so, it might be picking up a little bit. And I did go out to the depot this weekend just to see Eastgate because I haven't been there since Polar Express, and I wanted to see how it looked. And it needs some work, and I've spoken to Tom and his crew, and so we know that we need to get in there and do a few things to it, get the restrooms open and all that kind of thing before the trains start, but everybody's aware of it, and so hopefully, and I know they will, get it all finished. And as Sherry mentioned to you, I had the question about the diesel sales. I had been looking and seeing how, I think I've got 14 tickets sold for the 18th of May, 4 sold for June 1st, and 14 sold for June 8th. And the question, each car that we have holds 72 passengers. So we can just back it off and only run one car on those diesel days when it's not very many tickets. That's fine. But I didn't know if you guys had ever discussed any kind of a cutoff where you would look at that and go, it's just not really worth running that day. If you've thought of that, or if you're just gonna, as long as the ticket's been sold, you're gonna go ahead and run. I guess those are just things that we need to think about going forward. And maybe it would be good if we could come up with a reason why, or maybe because we charge the same for diesel and steam, and maybe there's some incentive to get people to buy those diesel tickets. I know we've talked about it before, I'm not sure what it is, but maybe we could come up with some kind of a family discount. We talked about that before, and that might drive those tickets.
Yeah, bump the ticket sales up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't recall having a conversation about eliminating passenger cars or a cutoff, unless I'm mistaken.
Question about that. So how many, in general, is it more people buy, you push people to go to the website and pre-buy? Do you get walk-ups?
We do, but not very many, but we will occasionally, maybe a couple, usually and that is the other thing on the website, could be people when they're navigating our website. We've got the diesel and the steam separated out in one part. So if you don't look at the page that has the schedule of all the trains that shows it's steam, diesel, steam, if you don't look there and you've got a date, like for instance, June 1st, you don't see it because it's not a steam day, it's a diesel day. So now you think train's not running. And so I've been getting some calls about that too. People like, oh, I'm coming and it's the only day we're gonna be there, and yes, we are running a train, it's just diesel.
Is
so.
there a reason does it have to be set up that way? Can
I'm
we do
not-
a one-page ticket?
Yeah, I'm not sure why
Is
it
that a Fair
does
Harbor
that,
thing?
and it could be a Fair Harbor thing. I need to investigate that a little bit more, because that is confusing. If you're just looking for your date, that's what's gonna happen.
Gotcha.
So I can check with Fair Harbor and see, but I don't know which end of it
Right,
belongs
is it
to.
our website or is it after you click through? The issue is in the
Well, it
actual
depends,
system?
if you envision our front page, there's a buy tickets
Yeah,
box
yep,
that you can click on.
yeah.
And I think that one is the one, if you just go directly through that one, I think that's the one that takes you to the boxes that show steam and diesel.
Okay,
And I think then the other one, with the drop down that says trains,
right.
that one takes you to the page that lists all the trains. I think that's how it works.
Maybe that's just a question of changing the link, the buy tickets now
Yeah.
link to be the same exact link as, I know what you're talking about, upper left. Okay,
So that might be it.
that might
Call it
be
the date or
easy fix.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, just something so the schedule makes
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah, especially if there's no price difference between, I think date should be by far the ultimate sorting factor, right?
Right.
Yep.
That's what people are looking at.
Mhm.
That's the only option that's gonna be available on their day, whatever it is that we're running.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, do we have like Polar merch that's years old that we're looking to move out? Some light up swords you can give kids for free on diesel days or something like
you
that?
bought all the light up swords. Clay, there are none left.
I know. I'm sorry. And I still enjoy them very much, but
Lots of
it's the gift that
pajamas.
kees on
Yeah.
giving.
Costco large battery packs. That's a good question. Is there any of the older merch, not the stuff that came in last year, but I want to say from 2022? Is there anything
There's
left?
a little bit, I think.
Okay. Because I think we discounted and sold it, right, if I'm not mistaken, but
I'll look.
you have a comment, Leah?
I know in the past we've done joint efforts between the Virginia City Tourism Commission and the V&T Railway. And it might be, I don't know that we have anything in place anymore. I know we used to have like bring your ticket to
Oh, yeah.
the visitor center and you get a discount. Maybe it's time to get together our separate marketing teams and kind of discuss a way to work together again in a way that makes sense for all of
Yeah.
us. Because we love the train coming to Virginia City. Like I don't want to ever go, nope, 3 people are coming.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and my feeling is if we can scale so that it doesn't feel empty based on the number of cars,
Yes.
right? So it's not like 4 cars, very few people, but we can kind of ease that down so that there's a critical mass.
Right.
I agree with you. I don't think there's ever a reason not to run a train. I think the consistency is important.
and I think if we can, I think that from my side, I'll just say, I think that the Virginia City side has kind of been neglecting the weekend train in a way in our marketing efforts. So what's to stop us now from saying, okay, let's start pushing this back out because it does benefit us. So
Right.
I will talk with them and get with who I need to about who can talk amongst themselves for marketing side.
That's great. Yeah, appreciate you guys looking to invest a couple $1 million of your money into advertising and marketing the train. Thank you.
I mean, I'll take a
Leah?
significant pay cut just for you.
Thank you. You can afford it. You can absorb it. No, that's great, Candy. Yeah, let's the link. I think we can look at that if there is an issue about where that's going. I think we can fix that on our end because that's definitely in the back end of the website. If it's something unique to Fair Harbor, we might need some help.
I think, frankly,
Yeah.
Sherry,
Yep.
again. I think, frankly, it is the Fair Harbor side, because that's, I'm picturing what you're saying, but you follow their link. I think
Okay.
they need to combine the calendar.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Would you two be able to work on that this
Yeah.
week?
Mhm.
Tomorrow or Friday? Okay, thank you. That would be great. Candy, you were starting to say something else, then we got on the ticket side
I
of things.
was.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Actually, no, I think that's all I had really. Just that I'm looking forward to the season and I mean, I guess my only question, and you all know we're still getting lots of calls, where are the rail bikes? And
Oh,
so,
yes.
that's,
And I have been seeing the communications from Tom about that, and it sounds like whatever was going on with something on a patent side, we're okay based on the design that Tom has been working off of. So I think he's continuing to move forward
Right, I
with
think
it
so.
as far as development and all that good stuff. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know you guys if I don't want to put Tom on the spot, but I feel comfortable for next calendar year that we'll
Right.
have rail bikes.
I
Not
don't
so
know.
sure about this
Yeah,
year.
I know
so-
he has a lot getting the engine, the new to him steam engine running for
Right.
up there mid-season. He's been working on that, and so I know he's got a lot going on, and
Yeah.
so,
I just wanted to add one thing, if I may, from an operations perspective. Maybe. Let's see here. This has to do with track maintenance. So Dennis did do a track inspection on Thursday, the 11th. He indicated the track from Eastgate to Gold Hill looks good. He has some work to do to cut down the willows that are close to the track and cut up and remove a tree, I guess, that fell on the track. Must be further up top somewhere. And this email was from last week, so this work is going to be done this week. So I feel comfortable that we're going to be in a good place. The snow that was blocking, I cannot remember what mile post marker, but that snow, I believe, is no longer an issue,
Right.
if I
Yeah.
understand correctly. So feel pretty good that we're ready to roll for Mother's Day weekend. So, but Gabe, Dennis, excuse me, on behalf of Gabe, is going to continue to double check everything. And then I believe the week of, they'll go back and do another inspection as well, just to make sure everything is okay up there before we start the Mark Twain train.
Cool.
So, questions for Candy? Oh, getting off easy. Good. Well, thank you, Candy.
Certainly.
Yeah, appreciate it very much.
I have one last
Oh,
question.
there is a question. Yes.
How many total VIP and people, not just tables, but how many people are in the VIP section for the Mark Twain Days train?
The room holds 15, and then the tables are 4 to a table, and there's 10 of them,
Okay, thank you so much.
And we sold
5 of them.
5. Okay, so that's, yeah, because we were at 4 Monday, so that we've sold another table. And then we have the main room, which would be,
So we have 55 technically?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, both. Appreciate it. If there are no other questions, we'll move on to 11C. That would be our next upcoming meeting, and that will include the budget hearing as well, and that is scheduled for Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024 at 9 a.m. So mark your calendars for that one. We'll move on to agenda item 12, commissioner comments or announcements and requests for information. Anybody have anything they want to throw out there today? Go ahead, Michelle.
Just wondering, did we go ahead and get those pamphlets printed that we were gonna put on the train seats?
I'm looking, sorry, Sherry, go ahead. Yeah.
Green light, go. We have not gotten to be able to get to work on that.
Do you think, though, we will possibly have them, or will it be for the weekend after Mother's Day,
We'll,
timing-wise? Might have to be
We'll
the
do our
first
best.
normal weekend,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Okay. You okay with that? Yeah, go ahead, Leah.
I know for the Friday Mark Twain Days train, everybody gets a newspaper.
That is true.
So-
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
will have those delivered as soon as they're printed. Yeah, we'll have 250, 300 of those or more up at the depot for sure. So I'll figure out a way to get those up there, or Eric or somebody from my team get those up to the depot.
And there's a possibility those could go out for the Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, why
also
not? Yeah,
because
considering they're going to be in Virginia
Mark
City.
Twain
Okay, so
Days
actually
is
you're
all
right.
weekend,
Yeah,
so-
we do have an answer. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
actually, we'll make sure we have 1,000 of them
Yeah.
ready to roll. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments, announcements? I just would like to add one thing. We did get the grant, thank you, Sherry, in play with Travel Nevada and the Nevada Commission on Tourism for a redesign of the website. So we submitted that grant. It was for about 19,000 and change, based on an estimate that we received from a firm via the master services agreement that the state of Nevada has with web developers. So thank you, Mahela, for confirming that we can tap into that MSA process as a commission, a state commission, that the state agencies are able to take advantage of. So it was submitted, and there's a TAC meeting coming up, I think Monday the 13th. Commission on Tourism should be meeting at some point in June, so we'll find out if we received our 50/50 matching grant for the website redesign. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that out there for everybody. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item 13, public comment. Final public comment. Anybody? Any takers? Okay. You're welcome, Bob. Thank you, Bob. All right, move on to agenda item 14. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned. I know you do.